Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to my 40-something podcast. I think this is number 44. Welcome if you are new here. I am so excited you have stumbled across my channel and do hope you enjoy my content. If you are not new here, you know how much I deeply, deeply appreciate each and every one of you and enjoy getting to spend this time with you sharing our love of knitting. And today that is all I'm going to be talking about is knitting. I did work on some other stuff, but when I was gathering everything, I only gathered my knitting stuff. So we're going to jump right in. I do want to say real quick that if you would give this video a like, if you enjoy it, I would appreciate it, a nice little thumbs up. And if you enjoy your visit with me, I would love to have you subscribe, and I try to put out content about once a week, sometimes once every 2 weeks. Excuse my refrigerator making ice. But anyway, yeah, that's that, and all the places you can find me and everything I talk about will be in the description box below. So we are going to get going. I do have a few finished objects this week. Last week, I think that is the first time I have never had any finished objects. So I have two for you this week. I'm going to show three finished objects. One of them I have shown before, but I didn't have the buttons on it. I did finally find buttons for it, and I do love the buttons. And I'm going to show it because it's the same buttons I'm going to be using on my other two finished objects. So this is my everyday cardigan. This is a pattern that is in testing of mine right now, and it should be released no later than February 20th, very, very possibly sooner than that, maybe this coming Friday. I adore this cardigan. This is made out of a worsted wool and cotton blend, I'm pretty sure it's 50-50 blend by Knit Picks, called Woolen Cotton, and it is held together with Aloft, Knit Picks Aloft mohair. And I don't remember the colors. I've talked about this, so I won't go into too many details, but I did want to show these buttons. I love these buttons. I found them at Hobby Lobby. Originally, when I had bought buttons for this, I had bought some handmade ceramic ones, which I love those too, but the color wasn't quite right. So I'm going to make a different cardigan specifically for those buttons. So yeah, the details of this pattern are in past episodes, so you can check that out. But I did want to show the buttons because I hope I'm not going too fast. I'm probably a little hyped up right now. I've got an eye doctor appointment. Okay, so this is another pattern that I am in the process of writing up, and I will be releasing. I'm pausing because actually I'm going to talk about the other one first. This is one that I have already written it up. It is available. This is called the Sticks and Stones cardigan. I have made it out of Wool of the Andes by Knit Picks, the non-superwash. And I love this yarn. I made this one a little bit longer in the body by accident. I don't mind it. It's just a little bit longer, but the reason I say that is because I ran short for the cuffs, and I blocked it to see if I could block it out, and I mean, it probably fits like this. Oh, and I'll talk about this in a minute. But on my cardigans, I like the sleeves to come like middle of my hand. And I went on to Knit Picks website, and this is colorway Cobblestone. and they are not going to have this for a few more months. It's going to be before they get any more of this colorway in. I've reached out to someone on Ravelry, and I think I'm just going to buy, she had one skein left over from a project, and I think I'm going to buy that and just hope and pray that the colorway is close enough. And because the cuffs are actually supposed to be garter, but I knew there was no way I was going to get enough length doing garter. So I did a 1x1 rib, which I don't mind that, but still they're too short. So I think I'm going to get that skein from another person on Ravelry and rip these out and go back and do the garter cuff, because I really do like the garter cuff with this particular pattern. So is it done? Yes, technically it's done. I am going to be putting these same, oh, not these, sorry, the buttons I just showed you. I am going to be putting that on this cardigan. I think that will go really well with this. And so yeah, I have finally a nice dark gray cardigan. This is a top-down raglan construction, and you start with the collar, do your raglan increases. It does it have short row shaping? I can't remember if it has short row shaping for the neck. I should know, it's my pattern, but I do a lot of cardigan patterns. Anyway, and then you separate the sleeves and then do the body and the hem, then pick up for the button band, and then you do the sleeves. And it is a very straightforward pattern, easy to follow. I would highly recommend this for a beginner without any issues. And with it being a worsted weight, I'm sorry, no. With it being a worsted weight, it makes up really fast. So that is my Sticks and Stones cardigan out of Wool of the Andes in colorway cobblestone. And I am so excited to add that to my wardrobe. I also want to add a solid black cardigan to my wardrobe really soon. That's probably my next cast on. Okay, my second finished object is a pattern that I am currently writing and will have for testing hopefully within the next few weeks. I will have it ready to start testing. This is going to be called, I believe, I may change the name, but I think I'm going to call this pattern Winter's Weather. And the reason I'm doing that is this is a take off of my Spring Fling cardigan, which I'll pop up here. And it is a heavier weight version of my Spring Fling. So I think I'm naming this one Winter's Weather. This is made out of Knit Picks palette and Knit Picks Aloft held together. Both of them are in colorway Tarragon, and I love this. It is so scrumptious, so scrumptious. I think, okay, Spring Fling is written as an open front cardigan, which was what I had intended to do on this, but I had been working on my everyday cardigan and my Spring Fling cardigan, which both had buttonholes, and for some reason I did buttonholes in this one as well. So that was not my intention, but obviously it can be done. So this is a top-down construction with a V-neck shaping, whereas the Sticks and Stones, excuse me, is a crew neck. So this one is a V-neck, and it has a sloping V-neck, so it's not a high V-neck, it's a low one. And the yarn combination gives you, I believe it was a 20 stitch gauge on this. So I'll have to remember. Yeah, 20 stitch gauge is what I get with this. So this pattern I'm writing up in two different yarn options. I'm writing it up in the palette, which is a fingering, and the lace, which is a mohair, the mohair, which is a lace. And I'm also writing it up in holding just one strand of Knit Picks High Desert Wool in the sport weight. And I'm doing that version in stripes, just like my spring fling. So you will get two options. You can either do it solid or striped, and you can choose either a fingering and mohair or a sport or a light DK. And this is a longer one, whereas the sticks and stones comes hits right about the hips, maybe a little higher. This one goes just past the hips. Yeah, sticks and stones is higher than the hips. So this one gives you a little bit of bum coverage, which I like for my leggings, and has a nice long, what's the word I'm looking for? Cuff. And it has an Italian bind off for all of your 1x1 ribbing. And this is just so scrumptious. I cannot wait to wear this. And this color is so much fun. So yeah, that is my second. I will be adding buttons, but the pattern is not being written for buttons. I'm going to photograph it without the buttons, because I'm sure you won't really be able to tell where the buttonholes are. But yeah, I just got into what I was doing and wasn't thinking and made buttonholes for it. And I am going to be using the same kind of buttons for that one as well. I'm just going down. They're not going to be as large as the ones that's on the everyday cardigan. Okay, so those are my FOs, my finished objects, and I have 2 whips / 3. The first one I'm going to show is for my daughter. I started out making it for myself and then decided that the yarn color is not really the best color for me. So I asked my daughter if she liked it. She said yes. So we made some adjustments to it, and I'm making her an everyday cardigan out of worsted weight Wool Ease yarn. And this colorway is called Wheat. And I'm enjoying working with it. I had bought this yarn thinking I was going to do one thing. Long story short, I'm just not enjoying working with acrylics that much, but I was working with it a lot during Christmas time, making gift knits, and I was enjoying it. I don't know. It just wasn't floating my boat. So I am making her an everyday cardigan with some major changes. I say major, minor changes. She wanted it cropped, so it comes just under her bust. And then she does not want any decreasing for the sleeves. She wants them big and baggy. And then I will do rapid decrease and then cuffs for her. So I did do a little preliminary blocking last night to make sure that it wasn't going to be too big. But she loves the way it fits. And so, yeah, and I didn't do the, she didn't want buttons, so I didn't do the button band or the neck band. I didn't do it as wide as what the everyday cardigan actually calls for. The everyday cardigan's more like 1 3/4 to 2 inches, depending on your row gauge. And I did this one more at like 1 1/4 inches. So it does have a more narrow front band. But yeah, this will be a quick and easy project. I should have it finished up in no time, and she's excited to have it, so I'm excited to make it for her. And that is that one. All right, let's see, we'll go with, okay. This is a project, I bought this pattern last year sometime, I can't remember when, and I attempted making it with the called for yarn, which I will go back and do that. I don't know if there was just a lot going on in my life at the time, but my stitches were too tight and I had to rip it out, and I just never got back to it. Like I said, there was probably, last year was a busy year for me. So I picked it up again, and this past year I bought a bunch of yarn from Holst Garn, the Coast yarn line, and it is so thin. And so I bought enough to make a sweater. I bought sweater quantities for every color that I got. And I just kept looking at the yarn. I never did a swatch or anything, but I just kept looking at it thinking, that is so thin. And it's like 300 and something yards per 50 grams. Let's see. No, 383 yards. Let me see if I can get one that's not wrinkled. Okay, so that is the yarn band and information. That's a lot of yardage for fingering weight. And I just kept looking at it thinking, that's awful thin. So I never did anything with it, but I love the yarn. And by the way, it is on sale right now on their website, holstgarn.dk. And the Coast and their super soft Coast and one other line is on sale right now. So anyway, I got kind of, couldn't find the right project after I cast those off. Couldn't find the right project, and I was trying all my yarns, looking at all these patterns, and so I grabbed one of these and I said, I'm going to see how this works up. And I did a swatch. And I blocked my swatch, and it blooms quite a bit considering how thin the yarn is. It's still a very small gauge. This is on size US 2.5. And I think I ended up getting 26 stitches per 4 inches with this. Well, the pattern I ended up going with is the Cumulus Blouse by Petite Knit, and it's either 27 or 28 stitches per 4 inches. And so I went down to a US 2, which is a 2.75 millimeter, and I am making my very first Cumulus finally, after having the pattern forever. It is a top-down construction. I'll pop one of the pictures up of from the pattern, and it is top-down raglan V-neck with I-cord edging for the neck. And I think the hem and the arms are done in an I-cord as well. I believe so. So I think all the finishing on it is I-cord. But I decided to go down to a US 2, and I love the way it's working up. I am doing my increases differently. She calls for 8 stitch markers, and you're doing a make one on each side of a single stitch. I hate dealing with 8 stitch markers, and I don't like doing make ones. So I reconfigured the numbers in between stitch markers and did a single stitch marker, and then I'm doing lifted increases 1 stitch before and 1 stitch after the marker, which gives me this. I don't mind the look of what she has done. I just don't like dealing with 8 stitch markers. I don't know, it's one of my pet peeves. But it is working up slowly. I have yet to work on it a full day, so I can't really say. This is 3 partial days of working on it, and I do mean partial. So a few hours here and a few hours there, 3 different times. I've probably worked on it about 6-ish hours, maybe a little bit more than that, and have this much done. So it is definitely slow, because with that, I would have already been to the sleeve separation point normally with a regular fingering. But I think it's going to be worth it. Coast is a cotton wool blend, and I think I'm going to start doing a lot more cotton wool blends just being here in the desert. I just think it's going to work better for me, or doing just straight cotton. So that is whip number 2, and I'm very, very, very much enjoying this. Highly recommend the pattern. I know some people are tired of hearing about petite knit, but to me, her style is very much what I wear. I don't do her patterns because that's what everybody else is doing. I do her patterns because I truly like her aesthetic. So I hope that you guys are not tired of hearing about her. She just has a beautiful aesthetic to her designs. Okay, my last whip is sort of kind of a whip. I've done a little bit on it, but I am going to rip it out and start over because I was kind of playing at the time. But I've decided that I am going to do a spring fling. Instead of stripes, though, it's going to be all one solid color, and it is going to be black. I need a solid black cardigan so bad. This is yarn that I had dyed up myself several years ago, and I had started making something. Oh, I started making a cardigan out of it, and ended up ripping that cardigan out. I wasn't crazy about the fit. And so now I'm going to do a spring fling cardigan. And and I'm actually glad I pulled this out because I want to show you guys something. I was playing around with doing different increases, and I do like these increases, but when I was playing, and I'm sorry for all the background noise. My dishwasher's going, my refrigerator's making noise. I don't think the AC's kicked on today. Or, yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, so I think I'm going to rip this out, and I've decided to just do a straight up spring fling cardigan. And I wanted to show you guys this. If you use Chowgu needles, I have a bunch of the little stoppers, but every time you go to put a stopper on, you have to get a key out and make sure it's good and tight so that it doesn't fall off, blah, 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 blah. I have discovered that I can just stick a safety pin in the holes where you can do your lifeline. So you can stick a safety pin in that little hole and it keeps your stitches from coming off, and it's so much faster and easier to contend with than the actual stitch stoppers. So that's a little tip for you. So yeah, that is going to be, oh, and I cannot wait to get started on it. As soon as I finish Fairy's cardigan, I'm going to start this, and I'll be doing these two at the same time because I think this one's going to take, I think it's going to take a little bit of time, and I may need something else to work on at the same time. So that is going to be a spring fling, and I am super, super excited about that. Other things that I have in the works, I do have this one that I'm going to be making in the striped, and it is, again, it is Knit Picks High Desert Wool, and the colors I got are a black and a tan beige color, so it will be striped. I do have that one coming up. I think what I want to do first, though, is write the pattern and then work through the pattern with the second set of yarns. And I think I'll do that and then set it up for testing. So it may be a little bit longer than a few weeks out. It may be more like a month out. I don't know. I haven't totally decided. I may just get past all of the increases and then go ahead and put it in testing. So that one is coming up as well. And still doing a little bit of cross stitch, enjoying that. I am getting ready to do a quilt, my second true quilt. I've done a couple of little quilty projects, but this will be my second true quilt. My first one is getting ready to go to the long armor, and I think I'm going to video my process of making the second quilt. And I've picked out the pattern, I'm pretty sure. I'm still looking at patterns, but I think I'm going to do a chandelier pattern with Moda's Ellie fabric by Brenda Riddle. I'm looking around to see what else I've got going. Oh, I'm making a ton of dresses for work. Tons. Well, it feels like a ton. There's 14, 15, 16, 17. I think I've got like somewhere right around 20 dresses that I need to sew up for work. So yeah, those are my crafty projects I have going on. What are you currently working on? I would love to hear about it in the comments. If you are new here, I would love for you to just pop in and do a quick hi in the comments and just let me know you've stopped by. I do hope you have enjoyed hanging out with me. Oh, I never talked about what I'm wearing. I'm a bad podcaster. This is a pattern that is in testing. I think I've got pretty much most of the sizes that I am going to be releasing. But if you are interested in testing this, I will certainly take on more testers. This is my pattern called I Heart Stripes, and it is a top-down raglan. Let me see if I can scooch up enough without having to stand up. Okay, so it has 3 different type stripe patterns on it, and it is so much fun to make. because the stripe patterns, not only is it stripes, but the stripe patterns themselves are different. There is no time for boredom with this particular pattern. It is done with fingering. You start at the neck and work your way down. There's no picking up stitches anywhere, even under the arms, because you do no extra cast on under the arms. It is a fun pattern. So if you are interested in testing it, let me know. If you are interested in buying it, it should be ready in another month or so. I can't remember when this one ends. Let's say this one's going to go out early April, I believe. As we get closer, I'll let you know. But loving wearing this and making it. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to cast on a second one. And I think I'm going to use 100% cotton for it. So that is what I'm wearing. Those are my whips and FOs and future projects, future cast-ons. And I think that's it for today. So thanks for stopping by. And I look forward to seeing you again, hopefully next week. Until then, bye.